Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be installing the rear motor for this Nissan 300ZX. For those of you who are new, we've got this Nissan 300ZX and we are doing it electric and we're doing it dual motor and we're going to be using the Tesla Model 3. Previously we've taken off the rear subframe and the front subframe, so it's currently hovering. We did do a lot of scanning and modeled things in CAD and we're pretty sure this will work. So follow along today and let's see if we can do it. Today's video is sponsored by Wolfbox, but more on them later. So if you haven't already watched it, go back and watch the video where we're evaluating if we can put dual motors in this Nissan 300ZX. So we did a lot of cutting in the back seats and things like that, and we took some scans. From those scans, we made some designs and we used our friends at Send Cut Send. Look what we got. This is some material we're going to use for the motor mounts for the Nissan. All right, so these are the mounting points for the Nissan, and I was able to find these kind of steel bushings that kind of just fit, maybe, there it goes. So it fits just right, so no slop. It's roughly 20 millimeters, and I couldn't find any like just steel with 20 millimeter ID that was very precise. So I got these kind of steel bushings, and they weren't quite long enough, so I'm going to have to weld two of them together. So I've already put kind of a chamfer on so I can get a good weld. So we'll go ahead and weld up. I need 4 of these in total. All right, so I just have those two. I've actually got it on the post here. My thought is that's the best way to keep things aligned. I'll probably just tack it in maybe 2 or 3 places and then take it off and do a full weld. Ooh, that's ugly. I just finished welding. Again, grateful for a welding table. This is not as robust as some, but hopefully this is good enough that we can keep everything flat and true. What do you think the likelihood is that stuff didn't warp and that it still fits? I'm gonna say 60% it still fits, maybe even 70. Let's go take this off and check. Come on, fit. Oh, it's like, it's all but like a quarter, and then it's kind of like, I bet I could like snug it up there, but then I don't know if I could get it back off. That's close. So I'll either have to do a little sanding on the outside of this or in the inside of this. So I just sanded the inside of this one a little bit. Yep, that's right on. So that's like a nice fit, like no slop, but it goes all the way to the top. Perfect. 1 down, 3 to go. For today's sponsor, we have Wolfbox. This is an EV charger. This is electric vehicle supply equipment. It's nice. So I really like the grip, the handle, some rugged heavy-duty plastic. And the box here, it looks really good too. It has a display. So Wolfbox is an EV charger with a 25-foot cord length and a 40-amp charge rating. Oh yeah. It has a 4.3-inch smart LCD display. This is probably one of the nicest displays I've seen on a charger. It has a flowing LED light strip. It comes with 3 RFID cards, 1 for management and 2 for users. So let's give it a try. Tap it. It immediately starts charging. The 40 amps gives you about 38 miles per every hour charging. This has the J1772 connection and is compatible with all electric vehicles. It has smart app integration, which allows you to change the power level. Oh, look at that. 16, 24, 32, or 40 amps. Start your charge remotely, and real-time charge management. Plug and charge, confirm. So this is like, you just plug it in, it'll start charging. Or like if you're in an apartment complex or something, you can do that. Also, you can do scheduling charging, and this you can do it at time to start, time to end, days of the week, things like that. This allows you to take advantage of charging during non-peak hours. It is IPX66 rated. It comes with ground fault protection, overcurrent protection, leakage current protection, thermal protection, high voltage protection, low voltage protection, overcharge protection, and lightning protection. We are going to stretch the cable out. Again, we're kind of in the third car bay, so we're going to make sure it's got a long enough cord to reach all the way over there. Click, click. So we are charging. All right, and on the app here, we can go ahead and stop charging, and there it is, it's all stopped. So it says scheduled charging is enabled. We've plugged it in. Okay, we've got to go on at 6:34. So right now it's 6:33, 7:11. Oh, I heard it go on. Right at 6:34, yep, right around 11 amps. So we'll let this go ahead and stop on its own. All right, it is 7:10, and at 7:11, it will turn off. There it goes. So you can see I only did it for 37 minutes. My car is just about full, but it shows the total energy and everything. They have 24/7 customer support and lifetime assistance. So this is the Wolfbox charger. And if you're in need of a charger, I'll leave a link in the video description below. All right, the first one I did, I put it in place and I tacked it, and then I took it out and I did the rest of the weld on the welding table. I think this next one, I'm gonna just do a full weld, at least for the two collets, the two, I'm calling those bushings. At least for the two bushings, I'm gonna put those on and do a full weld there. I think that'll help make sure that everything lines up just perfectly. Those outside bigger flanges, those holes are a little bit oversized, so not quite as critical there. I do wanna make sure they're flat, so I'll weld those on the welding table. If any of you guys have suggestions for a welding helmet, man, I just feel like I'm welding blind. Like, yeah, anyways, it's quite an old helmet. Maybe it just needs a new battery or something, but really struggling to see. Ugh, paper towel. So for part of the motor mounts, I've got this really thick gauge steel tube. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off like 2-inch sections, and the part that's gonna mount to the chassis is going to then mount to this, and then this is gonna be bolted to the Tesla subframe. So basically we're just trying to make a strong connection, and this is part of it. I think I need 4 that are about 2 inches each. Well, we got our 4 cut tubes. We're gonna make these, I'm gonna weld these on the bottom. These are gonna be the attachment points to the Tesla subframe. And basically that way we can kind of do a bolt through there, and this will be all very solid, and we can actually weld to this larger structure. So basically we're just gonna do a bead around the outside on each of these. That will be the Tesla side of all of our rear motor mounts. Well, we did okay. There's a lot of starts and stops, but not too bad. All right, I got call them the bottoms of the cups welded on. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put these in place kind of on the Tesla subframe. Probably use some all thread or something like this to make sure that they're in the right position. So then we've got some intermediate pieces that'll kind of weld from these ones to those ones. Some of these have just a little bit of spatter here, and we're gonna run it nice and flat. So we're just gonna use the belt sander and clean them up. And just like that, we're all nice and flat and even. Ready to go on. So that's the mount I made, and I'm tightening it to the chassis. And then this is the mount for the Tesla subframe. And these new mounts, they're gonna go right there. And we're essentially got these pieces that are gonna be welded in between them. All right, and this is the front motor mount. You know, the front of the car is that way. So I should say this is the rear motor mount. The front of the car is that way. So this is the front rear motor mount. And again, it's already kind of positioned in place. I think we've already tightened it. Yeah, about as good as it'll go. Currently, this is being held with a jack stand, but essentially this one's gonna go right there. And then again, we've got pieces that will be welded to each of these. and the bolt will go up through here and be fastened there. All right, so these mounts are now secured to the car. I need to weld these to those mounts, but you can see the top's got this corner and we've got kind of the weld stuff that's in the way as well as in the middle here. So I'm just gonna cut out a little corner and the one in the middle as well. All right, so this is the part that attaches to the car, and again, it's bolted up into place. This is now on the Tesla subframe. We've just got it bolted together, and now we've got these pieces that will be welded in between like that. So we got two of them. There's one on the inside, and right there, one on the outside. And it works great because we got these from Send Cut Send, and we did all of our scanning, so we kind of knew exactly what the size and shape should be. So right now I think what I'll do is I'll tack things in place. I might just tack and then bring it back to the welding table. I think that'll be easier than trying to weld on the car. All right, so I put a couple tacks here. I did a little bead here, tacks there, bead there as well. So I'm gonna take this off and do more proper welds. I think I've got to take the bolts off and then actually drop the subframe a little bit so I can get these off. I actually forgot one more thing. I got to do like a cross member because otherwise these can pivot. So when I put it back in, it could be kind of all over the place. So I'm gonna put a cross member so that way it can't pivot. All right, so this is now cool to the touch. I don't know, I worry that you know, you put a little heat into this and things start warping or flexing. So I worry that if this new, I'll call this the new subframe or the interface frame that we're connecting, I worry that it's going to be able to get off, but we'll try. This is where a more expensive welding table would come in handy. I'm just really worried that this is going to warp or twist or do just a little bit of anything to make it not line up again. So I'm really gonna try and keep the heat down, just do short passes here and there. But yeah, we'll do the best we can. All right, so I think I've got this finished welded, and basically now I just need to clean it up, give it a coat of paint. I've got some good chassis paint. Okay, we will let this set up, do at least 2 coats and flip it over and do two more coats. Here it is, all painted and welded and ready to go back in. All right, the back of the subframe is mounted. Okay, now that we got the back half mounted, the jacks are kind of right where we need to be putting, I'll call them the cups and welding. So basically, we need to take those and replace them. And then we'll tack these in place. I think we'll be there. I could design and cut some parts that look like this, or I could just use that. So this part here just sticks down a little bit too much. So we're just gonna cut that off just, I don't know, like a 1/4 inch or so, and then we should be good to go. All right, so I cut that down a little bit, so now I just need to tack weld that in place. Same thing on the other side, just need to get that welded in place. And then I've got these pieces here that'll go like that, so I'll weld it there and there. Okay, I think I got things tacked on that side. We'll go to the other side. Oh, come on. All right, here they are, all painted and ready to go. Last thing for these motor mounts, they're the rear motor mounts on the front of the rear. I don't know if that makes sense, but the front side of the rear motor, that's what these mounts are. So we're gonna go ahead and mount them, and then the rear motor will be completely mounted. We can kind of take things off, all the hokey jacks and stuff we can take off. So really looking forward to that. That's gonna be a milestone, so let's get to it. Okay. One down, one to go. We are mounted. We're gonna go ahead and take off a lot of these supports and things and watch it hang. We are mounted. So there's that one. There's that one. So again, these are on the front side. Then again, here's on the back side. All right, so here it is. Again, the car is still on jack stands. I wanted to throw the tires on and just set it on the ground, but we are missing kind of the shocks and things. That does bring me to one point I want to ask your opinion on. Okay, so here is the subframe, and this is the arm that kind of supports the suspension. For the Tesla, it's kind of weird. It's got a separate coil, and then up here is the point that it's got like the strut. And my thought was I'll probably just end up using this one and use kind of like a coilover. I may reinforce it with some like steel washers that I'll weld on, just make sure it's a nice stout place to support all that weight. But here's the question. So again, it kind of pivots up and down from right here. So I'm going to say pivots up and down from right here. So if I kind of go straight up, we're just off a little bit. So tell me, do you think, I just don't like the idea of it being kind of at an angle. Tell me if you think that's doable. Otherwise, we'll probably create some geometry, maybe even cut out a corner of the trunk to make a new place. Or we can weld on something to the right side, but we've got a lot of stuff in the way, like the drive shafts and some other suspension components. So tell me if you think we can get away with a small angle, or if we should just plan on, you know, cutting out this section and getting a new spot to put the upper part of the coilover. All right, so that's going to do it for this time. I think this is a major milestone, getting the motor mounted. If this was a rear-wheel drive only car, we would be so close, but we're going to make this dual motor. So we still have a lot to do up front. So stay tuned, we'll get to that in the future. That'll do it for this time. See you next time. Oh. Ground clamp. All right, so focus. Okay. The upper part of the, what do you call that, coilover?